Hey guys, what's up? It's iFlynn here, and in today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how you can go about killing your first kuva lich in Warframe. Now, this video is intended for absolute beginners trying to get into kuva liches for the first time. I'm going to have more digestible formats of kuva lich videos in the future for those of you who are just looking for a little brief guide on how to get into it. But this video is going to be one of the longer ones because it's basically just going to be showing you step by step what it is that you have to do, the builds that you want to get, like the bare minimum, and all that there good stuff, because there's a lot of misconception out there. People are like, you know, kuva liches are very hard content, and as a beginner player I can't really do them. But I think that's not true. I think you can definitely do them as a beginner player, as long as you know what you're doing, you know what you're getting yourself into, and you know, knowing that they're worth it in the end up, because you get such a power spec from them, because kuva weapons are literally the bomb. Because kuva Zar, kuva Brahma, they go boom. But anyways, moving on with the guide. So there's a few things that I want you guys to have completed before you move on with this video. So you want to have the War of Inquest completed, because if you don't have that quest completed, you're not going to be able to spawn in your kuva larvaling to spawn in your kuva lich. I want you guys to complete the entire star chart to unlock arbitrations. I want you guys to also complete the sacrifice quest, play a little bit of the arbitration missions to get a resource called Vitus Essence from the little drone enemies that are in there. And then you want to have a real jack by completing the Rising Tides quest and then getting one of your intrinsics to level 5. So to view your intrinsics, you just pause the game, get a real jack, go to intrinsics, and you want to have one of these at level 5, and that's what you're going to need to do the kuva lich mission whenever he retreats to his real jack. So next up, we're going to be talking about the Warframes and the builds that we're going to be using. So to actually kill and fight our lich, we're going to be using Banshee. Now, in this video, I'm using Banshee Prime, but the difference between regular Banshee and Banshee Prime are very minuscule. The build that I'm running right here is a pretty standard build. I'm running Rolling Guard, which you get from the Arbitrations vendor, which you can find in the relay in the Arbiters of Hexus room. Then I'm running Umbral Vitality and Umbral Intensify in conjunction with one another, because they buff up the stats of one another. You get this from the Sacrifice quest. Transient Fortitude, Augur Secrets for more power strength. Resonance, it's an augment which you get from one of the syndicates, and this is going to make sonar basically spread easier, and that is going to be our main source of damage buffing. Streamline for efficiency, continuity for duration, and then I've got corrosive projection on here to strip away enemy armor and make them easier to kill. So we're going to be mainly using sonar to like paint a weak point on the enemy, and then we're going to be using silence to stun the enemy so we're not getting murdered, right? Next up, we have the Heck, and the Heck is a pretty straightforward build. We've got Point Blank for damage, Galvanized Tell, which is another arbitration mod. You get it from the vendor for multi-shot. We've got Scattered Justice for more multi-shot. We got Charged Shell, Contagious Spread for corrosive, Incendiary Coat for heat. Then we're basically just doubling up on corrosive and heat by putting on Toxic Barrage and Scattering Inferno. Next up, we have the Atomos. Now, the Atomos we're building for status chance. We're building Borrow the Fusion for multi-shot, Lethal Torrent for fire rate and multi-shot, Enable Agility for more fire rate, Pistol Pestilence and Frostbite for viral. Then we have Scorch on here for heat and Sure Shot for status chance. Now, you might want to consider running a 90% Toxin or Cold mod to weight it more in viral's favor, but because this is a beginner video, I figured let's just go with the bare minimum. Then we're running a slash melee weapon. You can use the Broken War, you can use the Sky Ajadi, and we're basically just running a build that looks a little bit like this. Condition Overload, which you get from the enemies on the Heart of Deimos. Running Berserker Fury, which you get from the squid-looking enemies, the Ancient Healers, and the Void. Drifting Contact, which comes from Nightmare missions. Reach, you should just have this. Blood Rush from the Necrolist bounties. Weeping Wounds also from the Necrolist bounties. Organ Shatter, you should just have this, and Smite Rainier, you should just have this. The stance mod is going to depend on the melee weapon that you're running, but you can run this here build on pretty much any melee weapon that is high in slash damage. Now, slash damage has to be the highest value, or else it isn't going to work out, and that is pretty much that. Another tip I can give you guys, if you have a Sentinel and you've got a rifle attachment for it, you can go ahead and run these 4 mods right here: Vigilante Supplies, Vigilante Fervor, Vigilante Offensive, and Vigilante Armaments, which all come from Cetus bounties, and this is going to enhance your crits whenever you do eventually crit. So it's 20% chance to enhance them, which basically just takes it from like a yellow to an orange, or an orange to a red, depending on your critical chance. Now, with the Heck, we only have like a 10% critical chance, so it's not going to be that great. So with all of that out of the way, we need to get our first kuva larvaling to spawn in. And whenever it comes to the kuva larvaling, you're basically looking to get a toxin weapon in most cases. So if you're looking to get like a kuva Brahma or kuva Zar, for example, you want to be playing a frame like Saren to kill your kuva larvaling to get a toxin version. Or if you're looking to get the kuva Nukor, you want to be bringing a frame like Mesa or Mag to get a magnetic version, right? So it's going to depend on which weapon you're going for, right? But for the sake of this video, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to play Saren. Now, the build that I'm running on Saren doesn't matter because we're only going to be playing like a level 20 mission, Cassini on Saturn, to do this. And all we have to do is go through, complete the mission, and wait for a kuva larvaling enemy to spawn. So I'm going to jump in, get him to spawn, and show you guys what I mean. So here we are on Cassini on Saturn. I just shot the capture target, and I'm now capturing him. Now, after this point, what we're looking for is our screen to basically flash. And then, okay, there's the flash. And then this fat guy from the War of Ing quest is going to start talking to us. And he's going to be talking about like a subject or something like that. So there we go. And it's going to mark this enemy in the mission. So what we have to do is we have to go ahead and knock that enemy out by shooting at them, right? So we just go ahead and do that like so. That's going to put them into a down but not out state. We got a kuva Brahma. We just go ahead and we hold our interact button and we finish him off with the Parazon. Now what we do whenever this guy explodes is we go ahead and we complete the mission. And that is going to spawn in our kuva lich. So here we go. This is my kuva lich right here. If we go to navigation, whenever this red screen ends, we're going to be able to see, like, you know, the stats on the kuva Brahma, the frame that we use to get the kuva lich, and all that there good stuff. So we just go ahead, we sit down in navigation here, we click this little icon here, and we can see that we got a 52% toxin kuva Brahma, which is a really good roll. We can see the weaknesses that this guy has. So he's weak to viral, blast, and also cold, but he is immune to toxin damage. We want to make sure that we don't use toxin damage against this guy. It's pretty good saying that he's weak to viral, and it's just a pretty nice element. But what we want to do now is we are going to Earth, and we're going to play some of the kuva lich owned missions on Earth. So just go ahead and click one, and you click the owned territory. You play this here mission, and there's going to be enemies called Frowls. We want to go ahead and kill them. So I'm going to swap over the Banshee, jump into this mission, and show you what I mean. Okay, so here I am in the kuva lich controlled mission, and all I'm going to do is just play the mission as normal. I'm going to run through and kill the enemies, but you'll see that some of the enemies are marked with the same symbol that the kuva larvaling was marked with, right? So this here guy that I've just downed right in front of me, he's in a down but not out state. We have to finish him off with our Parazon, and upon doing that, it's going to come up on the screen, Requiem Murmur. So we're going to be making progress towards these things called Requiem Murmurs. And what we have to do is we have to complete 3 of these Requiem Murmurs to find out which Parazon mods we need to equip to our Parazon, which is our Assassin's Creed Hidden Blade ripoff that we have in Warframe now, that we're going to be using to kill our kuva lich. Now, in these missions, your kuva lich can spawn in. If you don't want your kuva lich to be super tanky and deal a lot of damage, you do not want to stab your kuva lich, right? You can shoot at him to knock him into the down but not out state, but you do not want to stab him, because whenever you stab him, he's going to level up, right? And whenever he swaps from planet to planet, he's going to level up. So what you want to do is you just want to go around and kill as many of these Frowls, which is the enemies that we're knocking into the down but not out state and then stabbing to find the progress on our Requiem Murmur. You want to get as many of them as possible on as many missions on Earth as possible to make sure that your kuva lich stays on level 1 without actually like stabbing your kuva lich, right? Again, you can shoot at him to knock him out so he doesn't keep on fighting you, but you do not, I repeat, if you do not want him to level up and get hard to kill, you do not want to stab your kuva lich. So if you come back to your kuva lich menu after your first mission, you'll see that you've made a decent amount of progress on your first Murmur, or the known Requiems. You can see that we're just over like a quarter of the way there. We basically just want to keep on playing these missions on Earth that are covered by this red mist, that are owned by our kuva lich, until we have found out, you know, all 3 of our Requiems, right? So if you run out of the missions, he's just going to move to another planet and level up. But like I said, if you stab the lich, he's going to move from one planet to the other immediately and level up then. So you want to prolong stabbing him for as long as possible if you don't want him to level up and be easier to kill. Now, the pro of actually stabbing him is you find out what that Requiem mod is a lot faster. But as somebody who's just getting into liches and probably doesn't have like maxed out builds and stuff like that, it's not worth stabbing him to speed up the process of finding out the Requiem mods. So I played enough of the kuva lich owned missions to actually find out that one of the Parazon mods that I need to equip is called Vom. So if I go ahead and I press modify Parazon here, we can see that we have 3 mod slots here at the top of my Parazon above like these like quality of life mods, right? So if I go ahead and I type in Vom, I can just equip that to any of these 3 slots. Now, I know that one of the mods is Vom, but what we also have to find out is the order that the mods go in, right? So I can equip Vom to my first slot, but if I were to go ahead and stab my kuva lich, that doesn't mean to say that I'm going to be able to damage him, so to speak, right? So Vom could be in slot 2 or slot 3. It's just a matter of trial and error. So what we want to do is we want to find out the other 2 Requiem mods before we attempt to actually start stabbing our lich, because if we get it wrong, like I said, he's going to level up, go to a different planet, be harder to kill and be harder hitting, right? And we don't want that, because presumably if you're watching this video, you're a newer player, you don't have all the mods ranked up to max and stuff like that, so you're not going to be able to survive or dish out enough damage to kill him if he's a very high level, right? So we want to minimize the risk, so to speak, by finding out all of the mods that we need to equip, and then that is going to like minimize the amount of times that we're going to stab him, so then he's an easier kill in the end up. So like I said, we got to get these Requiem mods. To get these Requiem mods, we need to open up Requiem relics, and you get these Requiem relics from killing Thralls or from doing Kuva Siphon and or Flood missions. So if we pause the game and go to navigation here and then go to alerts, we can see a bunch of Kuva Siphons, which is the singular Kuva, and then a bunch of Kuva Floods, which is the free going in like a little circle, right? So the Kuva Floods have a guaranteed drop of a Requiem relic, but then the Siphons only have a chance. And you want to be doing all of these because the mods from the Requiem relics are actually the rare drop, so you might also want to consider spending some void traces on these to get everything that you need. You need at least one of every single mod, and just open these as much as possible, you know, and get one of each mod, and then that's pretty much you good to go. So what I want you guys to do now is just keep on playing through the kuva lich owned missions and finding out the Parazon mods that you need, and then whenever we find out all 3 of them, that's whenever we're going to start stabbing our lich. All right, so my kuva lich just spawned in, and I'm going to show you guys that you are actually able to kill this guy. So just go ahead, cast sonar, cast your silence, and then aim for the weak spot on him, and there you go. We literally just one-shot the guy. So like I said, you don't want to stab him, because if you stab him and you get your order wrong for your Parazon mods, or you just get the wrong Parazon mod, he's going to retreat to a different planet and he's gonna level up. So I don't know how many times I'm gonna say that this video, but yeah, you're just gonna make it harder for yourself if you stab him and get the stuff wrong. So don't stab him, just knock him out whenever he gets close to you. Like I said, we can just one-shot him anyway. It's really no big deal, and continue on with your mission. Okay, so my kuva lich has actually moved from Earth to Mars, and what I actually did is on the last node on Earth, I stabbed him because he was gonna rank up after that node anyway, and I actually happened to get it right. So my lich is currently only level 2, so I know the first mod. He's level 2, he's on the second planet, so that is a big win in my book. So I'm just gonna keep on playing until I find out my last Parazon mod. I actually unlocked the second one, and it's Crass, so I'm just gonna go ahead and throw that onto the second slot. So at this point, I more or less have a 50-50 chance of getting it right? So whenever I find out the next one, the next time I stab him, it's either going to be Kra in the second slot or Kra in the third slot, and then whatever I find as the last one in the second slot or the third slot. So yeah, that's pretty good. All right, so I have found out the free mods. So I know that my first slot is Vom. I know that I need Kra, and I know that I need Netra. So all that is left for me to do is to spawn in my Lich at least one more time to figure out what the exact order is, right? So I've got a 50-50 chance of getting it right now. I could stab him and then I could get all three, or I could stab him and get the second one wrong, which means I just have to swap Kra and Netra and then stab him again, and then he would flee to Railjack. So I'm gonna go spawn him in now. All right, so my Kuva Lich just spawned in, so we're gonna go ahead and kill him. He's level 2 now, so I wonder if we're still gonna one-shot him. Yeah, we do. So here we go. Get the first one right. Get him again. Do we get the second one right? Unfortunately, we didn't. So he's going to level up to level 3. And I'm going to have to play missions on, I think, Ceres now to spawn him in again. And then we just have to swap around the Kra and Netra mod. And then I should be good to go to finally kill him. All right, so I just got my Kuva Lich to spawn in again. And we're going to go ahead and start shooting at him. I don't one-shot him anymore. So got to make sure that I don't die. Yeah, reload real fast. There we go. He's in his time but not out state. There's our first one done. Gotta shoot him again. 1, 2. And then one more time after this reload. 1, 2, 3. Nice. So here we go. So now he's just going to disappear, and it's going to pop up on our screen saying flees to Saturn Proxima. So now what we do is we go to the Railjack mission where the Kuva Lich is at. All right, we're on the final stage of the Kuva Lich hunt, and for this stage you obviously need to have a Railjack and have one of your intrinsics in your Railjack leveled to level 5. That is very easy to do. All you got to do is play through some missions with your Railjack to get yourself over to the Saturn Proxima, and you should have got enough intrinsics to rank one of them to rank 5 by the time that you get here. So all you got to do is come to the Saturn Proxima, click on this mission, and it's going to shoot us into our Railjack, and we just play through that. And yeah, so here we are. We're in our Railjack. We go through the looting screen here, and all we got to do is like basically a Railjack part, and then we got to do our, what's it called, we board their ship and we kill the Lich guy, right? So here it's probably just gonna be like a bunch of like enemies that we gotta kill. Yeah, so we have to kill 55 fighters, and then we gotta kill 3 cruise ships. So I can just use my abilities here to sort of like group them up and kill like a lot at a time. I'm gonna have another video going over like my Railjack loadout. I'm not gonna go for it here because realistically you don't need anything too optimal to do this, because it's a pretty low level Railjack mission in all honesty. But yeah, you can definitely like optimize your Railjack to kill the small enemies rather quickly. What you're looking for is a big Grenier ship that we're gonna board. You're gonna have to fly towards that whenever you kill all of the small fighters, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of bad guys dead with a few ability uses, you know. Pretty fast kills. That's 44 out of 55. So I'm gonna go ahead and complete this Railjack portion and come back to you guys whenever we're actually boarding the ship. All right, so I'm done killing all the cruise ships and the small fighters. We just gotta fly around the ship here, and then we jump into our Archwing. Once I get off this, come all the way back here in your ship. Get onto your Archwing, like so, and then just enter in here. Pretty straightforward. We're just gonna go ahead, dash on through here. Make sure to have your silence active. Maybe use an energy plate or your energizing dash to get your energy up. So the main concern with the build that I'm running right now is the Kuva Lich's shield. I wasn't able to one-shot him for his shield, but because we're running corrosive and fire, and I'm pretty sure he's like not resistant to that, at least this one, then we're able to just take him out whenever he's on his armor, right? So actually we killed him pretty fast, but yeah, he almost killed us because of the Kuva Brahma. So we just walk up to him, he's down but not out, and now you have the choice between capturing him and killing him. So if you capture him, you can trade him or convert him. If you convert him, you can trade him. And you can also use them as like a Railjack crew member. But if you want the weapon, just go ahead and vanquish him. Do the 6th finisher animation. Good night. And there you go. That is your first lich killed with a beginner Luddite. So I'll see you guys back at the orbiter. All right, so we're back in the ship and we got the bow delivered to our inbox. So if we go to our foundry and we go to the crafting page, we can scroll down and we can see that the bow is there just ready to be claimed. I gotta buy some slots there, and there you go. That's it in our inventory. Go to equip, and then it was like Obelisk. There you go. Obelisk McMad Kuva Brahma. Very nice. So that is your sort of like beginner guide on how to do your very first Kuva Lich with like a beginner build. And as you guys can see, like I was using all of this stuff that I showed you at the beginning of the video, like all these beginner builds. So pretty straightforward run, honestly. And yeah, I hope this really helps you out, guys. Hopefully you enjoy farming up your Kuva weapons. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Consider checking out my Patreon for early access to upcoming Warframe videos. Subscribe to the channel for more Warframe videos. That makes total sense. And I'll see you guys in the next episode or video. Good job, me.